Ladies and gentlemen, presenting an amalgamation of dreams. This is Empress Pamela, and along the path of my journey, I've had um, quite a few vivid dreams. Starting from my childhood, I've had a couple of reoccurring dreams throughout my life. So let's talk about pre spiritual awakening. Um, there was one dream I had. So, in my childhood home, my first home that I remember, we lived kind of on a hill. It wasn't a very steep hill, but it was an elevated, I guess you could say, hill. And on the bottom of the hill, it bordered what we used to call the court, which was actually a I can't think of the word now. I knew it was going to escape me. Cul-de-sac. So the court that we called it was really a cul-de-sac. And so a number of dreams that I had recurring, I would say nightmares, was the court. Like I would be standing on top of my hill in my backyard, looking down on the court, and the court was filled with black snakes, like the entire cul-de-sac. So it's like a street with 5 houses or so surrounding the kind of semicircle, and the entire road or was filled with snakes, black snakes. That was one reoccurring dream. In actuality, a couple of years, I guess when I was a teenager, and we used to play tennis against the wall, kind of, the wall was a structure that surrounded the road that was near the river. It doesn't sound good, but it was pretty nice. And anyway, we played tennis against the wall. Instead of going to like the tennis courts, there was a wall there, cement wall, and we could play and hit the ball against it. And it was surrounded by the woods. And on one part of the woods, there were a bunch of boulders. And one day my friend and I went to go hit the balls, play tennis. And there was a big snake sitting on top of the boulder. So I saw that in real life. And then consequently, I remember having a couple of dreams where that snake on the boulder would reappear. So that was kind of interesting. The other reoccurring dream that I had throughout kind of my life, I guess, as I got a little bit older, was something about, okay, there was one about bridges. So in my dream, and I was always afraid of bridges. And then when I learned to drive, it was even more terrifying. Um, and then in my 20s, as it turned out, my husband, who when I was dating, I used to have to drive to see him because we had like a long distance relationship. And every weekend I would drive to see him in New York. I grew up in Connecticut, but I would have to cross the Tappan Zee Bridge across the Hudson River. And so, you know, you can't really be afraid, but I think I was still fearful of bridges. The other thing is, I remember I had just recently got my driver's license. And I want to say recently, like within 2 years. So I was still a teenager. Maybe I was 18 or something. And we took a trip to Newport, Rhode Island. And I vaguely remember there's a famous huge bridge there, and that was one of the more terrifying things. But that type of bridge where you're basically going up, you're ascending the bridge and you don't really see what's on the other side. In my dreams, I would be going up the bridge, not being able to see the other side. And when I reached the top, I would fall off the bridge, whether it was me walking or me in a car. And it's pretty terrifying. So far we have snakes, black snakes, we have bridges. And then when I was kind of in my career mode, um, I had dreams about elevators. So before I got married, growing up, I lived in Connecticut, just outside of New York City. And when I was in the insurance industry, we would go to the city to see clients. And before 9/11, believe it or not, I was in the World Trade Center. And that is, as you know, or may not know, look it up. It's one of the largest buildings. Um, and so going up in elevators was a thing, but the elevators I went up in my dream didn't just go up and down. They were kind of like Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and the second book was called Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, which goes side to side and all that other stuff. So my other reoccurring dream that I had was with respect to elevators. And not only did it go up and down, it went sideways and it took me on crazy adventures in my dreams. And the people that would accompany me would be another highlight in the dreams. Um, but anyway, so yeah. Do I have a fear of elevators? Not really, but I have a fear of heights. So when I went up to, there was a restaurant on one of the World Trade Center towers. It's called Windows on the World. And I actually did go there. It was part of a business meeting, a luncheon. And so here we are at this restaurant called Windows on the World at the World Trade Center. And my palm is sweating just thinking about it. I could not get near the window because of my fear of heights. And basically, what you saw outside the window was basically clouds. You couldn't see anything else. You were up in the clouds. My hands are literally, my palms are sweating talking about it. Um, but it was scary. But I think I tried to inch my way close to the window, but I'm just losing my footing even as I sit right now telling you the story. I'm having a physical reaction. So, if you are not afraid of heights, I give you all the credit, but I've always been afraid of heights. Ferris wheels, ugh, I can't even think about it. I know there's a famous one in London, and then there's one in Myrtle Beach, and of course Ferris wheels at country fairs and Rye Playland in New York, whatever. Roller coasters, not so much. I don't worry about that. Log flumes, I like, but Ferris wheels, I can't deal with that. Anyway, what is a recurring dream or theme in your dreamscape? Do you have any? Leave me uh, a comment. Let me know if you're willing to share. Anyway, so that's all pre spiritual awakening. And of course, once you have a spiritual awakening, you can have vivid, lucid dreams where you're basically having conversations. You can see colors. I mean, it can get pretty crazy. So, what I'm going to share with you may not necessarily mean much, but I just found, um, because I kept a notebook by on my nightstand for those occasions where I did have some crazy dreams and wanted to remember what was going on. Um, anyway, let's see. January 17th, 2021. Pulling a tarot card and asking, "Did you pull the douche card?" Douche. I don't know. That was a word, that was a derogatory term that people used to use back in the day. So I apologize if it offends you. But that's what I said. That's what was said. I think I said it. Did you pull the douche card? Cards were dark with gold. And then I laughed, and that woke me up. I don't know. Okay. August 22nd, 2021. Necromancy. I can't even remember what that is. Necromancy. Hawaii with Liz Pollock. So Liz was a woman that I worked with back in 1990. So 11 years later, what is that? No, 21. Oh my God, I can't even. Of someone from the past comes back in my dream. Reef sharks, clear ocean water. Okay. August 24th, 2021. I wonder what was happening in with the planets around that time, because 2 days later I had another dream. I vaguely remember Lilia or Lilia, so I spelled it three different ways. Lilia or Lilia, someone with that name came up in my dream. And I know there's a Kate Bush song that I think uses that name. Anyway, let's see. 929. So 929, 930, 2021. About a month later. Oculus. Tiger iron, muggle stone, tiger eye, non asthmatic lung disease. Someone else. So, some childhood friend that I reconnected with on Instagram. And so, you see these people that were childhood friends and now they're adults and they have their spouse or whatever. So, her and her spouse appeared in my dream. Charcuterie, Brad Torrey. I think they're from The Challenge, the MTV's The Challenge. Refrigerator, grapes, cheese, tight squeeze between the table for Pam. Okay. Meaning I had trouble moving my body with these people, and I don't know why they would turn up in my dream. That is strange. Saturday morning, 2/24/24, dream. Real for what? Martha Stewart saying words wrong. It says Realtor Martha Stewart saying words wrong. Last offer 962,400 or 964,200. I don't know. She appeared in my dream as a realtor. Okay. Saturday. So a couple weeks later. Saturday, March 2nd, 2024. I'm going to have to look up because it's like, I wonder if it's more full moon or new moon when I have these dreams. I'm pretty curious. Maybe I'll make a note in the comments and let you know if I find a pattern of when these vivid dreams come about. Saturday, March 2nd, 2024. Dream. Bulked up Justin. That's my son, my older son. Bulked up, meaning muscular, I guess. Justin in red maroon suit with button jacket. Askew, big black button, left shoulder askew as well. Upon closer review, shows and tells me he had a fight, bloodstains on gray-blue shirt, under jacket, shoulder. Needs to be put back in place. Okay, that's wild. So, that's what, 2 years ago? So my son in my dream is dressed up and then shows me he was in a fight and has bloodstains. Well, something happened when he was in high school. So what's that? 10 years earlier. Yeah. He had a fight and he came home with a shirt with bloodstains, but it was a t-shirt. It wasn't part of his suit. So that's weird. April 21st, 2021. Woke up with the term Manouk honey. Manouk, Manouk honey. And I believe so. I don't know for sure, but Pamela means all honey. I have a license plate that says all honey. So, it's not like I'm necessarily a fan of honey or have a bunch of, I don't raise bees to get honey or anything. It's just when I was learning to love myself, part of it was understanding who I was, like what is Pamela mean? So I did some research. Anyway, in this dream, I woke up with the term Manouk honey. And that's something else when you're in spiritual awakening. I mean, I could be waking up with song lyrics in my head, even during the course of my dream. There's like a saying or a verse or something that could be coming up. I could hear things. I want to say I could hear voices, but the dreamscape is much more vivid. Anyway, that's some of the notes that I found about dreams. Have you had vivid, lucid dreams? Have you had crazy dreams? Is there a theme in your dreams? Let me know in the comments. I don't know if you got anything out of it, but it's certainly interesting. And I used to have a book on dream interpretation. I don't have it anymore. But yeah, if you're curious, follow your curiosity, do some research, right? It's not going to hurt. It's just going to give you a little bit of nugget to chew on, a nugget of wisdom per se. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.